Welcome to From the Pages of the Wrestler, April 1988. This issue drops you straight into a moment where wrestling feels restless and alive, readers arguing about substance versus spectacle, locker rooms shifting alliances, young talent knocking on the door, and established stars trying to redefine who they are before the industry does it for them. In this episode, we're digging into fan reaction, hard news from the territories, eyewitness reports from rings across the country, the rise of Scott Rex Steiner, Bobby Eaton speaking in his own words, Kerry Von Erich under the microscope, the Midnight Rockers questioning everything they thought they were, Lex Luger breaking free while dragging the past behind him, a historic Thanksgiving event that still echoes, major ratings shifts after the collapse of the UWF, and a photo-heavy look at wrestling both inside and outside the ring. From the jump, the letters section sets the tone. Fans are passionate and divided. Some plead, almost defensively, to leave Missy alone, pushing back against criticism aimed at her presence and influence. Others argue that certain stars are the total man, insisting that charisma, look, and attitude matter just as much as technical skill. And threaded through it all is a recurring demand to look for the substance. A reminder that readers want more than noise. They want meaning, accountability, and performances that last beyond the pop of the moment. It's a snapshot of a fan base that isn't passive anymore. They're engaged, opinionated, and vocal. That urgency carries into What's Happening, where the magazine lays out the latest developments as of press time. This is the heartbeat section. Injuries altering plans, promotions adjusting direction, talent moving, and the ripple effects those changes create. Wrestling in early 1988 is not standing still, and this section reinforces that the ground is always shifting under everyone's feet. The correspondence reports expand that picture outward. Eyewitnesses from around the wrestling landscape detail what they saw firsthand. Major matches, decisive moments, crowd reactions that don't always translate to television. These reports ground the issue in reality, reminding you that wrestling lives and breathes in arenas, not just on highlight reels. And you asked us the power flips. Fans ask and the stars answer. The questions range from personal to professional, touching on motivations, frustrations, and future goals. It's less scripted, more conversational, and it gives insight into how wrestlers see themselves, not just how they're presented. Then comes thumbs up, thumbs down, the magazine pulling no punches. Praise is given where it's earned, criticism where it's unavoidable. This isn't about popularity. It's about momentum, decision making, and whether performers and promotions are helping or hurting the sport in real time. One of the issue's defining moments arrives with introducing Scott Rex Steiner. As the younger brother of Rick Steiner, Scott is immediately framed with expectations, but the feature is careful to establish him as more than a name. Athletic background, raw power, intensity, and upside are all emphasized. This isn't hype for hype's sake. It's a declaration that a new force is forming, one that could reshape the landscape if developed correctly. The tone shifts with a Q&A featuring Bobby Eaton of the Midnight Express. Eaton speaks with clarity and quiet confidence, discussing tag team psychology, longevity, and what separates teams that last from those that burn out. There's no bravado here, just experience, precision, and pride in mastering the craft. Next, X-Ray. Kerry Von Erich puts one of wrestling's most complex figures under examination. A panel breaks down his strengths, vulnerabilities, and current standing. This isn't nostalgia or blind loyalty, it's analysis. Kerry's talent is undeniable, but questions linger about health, direction, and whether past glory can coexist with present reality. Those questions of identity intensify in a month of doubt or a permanent change, focusing on the Midnight Rockers. Marty Jannetty and Shawn Michaels aren't villains or heroes here. They're conflicted. Their turn toward rule-breaking isn't framed as a clean transformation, but as confusion, frustration, and uncertainty bleeding into action. The piece captures two wrestlers standing at a crossroads, unsure whether this path is temporary rebellion or who they're becoming. That sense of fracture continues with Lex Luger. I'm free of the Horsemen, but the Horsemen aren't free of me. Luger speaks from a place of liberation mixed with unfinished business. Breaking away doesn't erase history, and this feature leans into that tension. Revenge, independence, and pride all collide as Luger asserts that separation doesn't mean escape. The issue then widens its lens with full coverage of wrestling's greatest day, a deep look at a historic Thanksgiving event. Matches, moments, and consequences are laid out carefully, showing how one night can reverberate across months of storylines and careers. This is wrestling as event, memory, and turning point. Visually, the bonus full-color section delivers WrestleRaction close-ups from Starrcade, the Survivor Series, and AWA and World Class Action. These pages freeze intensity, bodies mid-impact, expressions locked in effort, on serving as visual punctuation to the written analysis. That visual storytelling continues in Beyond the Squared Circle, offering candid photos of wrestlers away from combat. These images humanize the giants, showing them between moments, between personas, and between battles. Back in feature territory, former partners warn Tito Santana. Rick Martel will destroy Strikeforce, digs into internal tension. The warning is clear. Martel's personality, ambition, and direction are incompatible with long-term unity. The piece frames the potential breakup not as betrayal, but inevitability. Then comes Wahoo McDaniel whips Kurt Hennig, where victory is measured not in titles, but in revenge. The strap match is presented as catharsis, pain endured and inflicted for pride rather than gold. The issue closes with authority in official wrestling ratings and ratings analysis. With the UWF gone and the CWF emerging, the rankings don't just list names, they map a changing ecosystem. A new cumulative category reflects an industry trying to redefine itself after upheaval. Layered throughout the magazine are the ads and merchandise that defined the era. Subscriptions promising deeper access, mail order offers pulling fans closer, and promotions that remind you wrestling was something you collected, mailed away for, and waited on. They're part of the experience, part of the rhythm of reading this magazine, cover to cover. This is The Wrestler, April 1988, a snapshot of wrestling caught between certainty and doubt, tradition and evolution, loyalty and reinvention. See you next time. Farewell from the Empire State.